Here is the English translation. This seemed to be where the temple disciples lived. Broken, dusty furniture was piled up everywhere and a faint, rotten smell lingered in the air. Zhang Yuanqing searched the rooms one by one without any particular discoveries until he pushed open the lattice door furthest east. Creak. The room door, sealed for who knew how many years, was opened again. Dust fluttered down as Zhang Yuanqing brushed the dust off his shoulders. His gaze warily swept every corner of the room. By the window in this long-abandoned room was a corpse slumped against the wall, lying there crookedly. From the clothes and fallen miner's hat, it could be inferred this was another predecessor. Stepping past the threshold into the room, Zhang Yuanqing shivered. For some reason, he felt the temperature around him seemed to have dropped significantly. A bit cold. He cautiously approached the corpse, undid the tattered clothes, and as usual observed the skeletal condition. This time, he saw no shattered bones. The skeleton was intact. But when his gaze fell upon the corpse's shoulder bones, Zhang Yuanqing's pupils constricted. On this skeleton's shoulders were exaggerated fractures, the same as the cracks on the main hall corpse's shoulders. The difference was this corpse had suffered heavier injury. Only the corpses here and in the main hall have fractured shoulders. Is that a coincidence? He muttered uneasily to himself. Next, Zhang Yuanqing noticed the corpse's pockets were bulging as if hiding something. Reaching to rummage through them, he retrieved an ancient book, a dusty bronze mirror, and a yellow talisman paper from the dead man's pockets. Twisted vermilion patterns were drawn on the yellow paper, somewhat resembling glyphs. The patterns converged to form a character uncannily like the complex Chinese character for corpse. As he examined the yellow talisman paper, a line of pale blue information appeared before Zhang Yuanqing's eyes. Name, corpse-suppressing talisman. Type, consumable. Function, suppresses corpses. Description, a powerful talisman created by the Night Walker to counter all Yin creatures and corpses. Stick it on a Yin creature's forehead to seal it. Note, it can only be used once. The blue information resembled his attributes panel. Clearly, this was a prompt from the spirit realm. Since entering this bizarre old temple, this was the first such prompt Zhang Yuanqing had seen. It must be an important item. Zhang Yuanqing folded it up carefully and put it in the zippered pocket of his jacket. After some thought, he unzipped his pocket again. He was reminded of a gag in a wuxia novel where a master swordsman liked strapping his sword to his back wrapped in cloth. One day during a meal, a challenger initiated a duel against the swordsman. And the swordsman was screwed. Because it was inconvenient to unwrap the cloth. Zhang Yuanqing then picked up the old book and bronze mirror. No related information popped up. He first set the mirror aside and gingerly opened the yellowed, brittle book, turning pages carefully. It read, "It's been 2.5 years since I entered Sonda Nyang Temple. I've learned to read and write. Eldest senior brother said after master finishes ferrying souls and returns to the mountain, I can be formally inducted and cultivate the soul-swallowing, moon-nurturing art to become a night walker. This is the entry method to become one." The rebellion of Yan Wang caused turmoil with beacons of war lit everywhere. As the strongest of the Songfu Night Walker lineage, Master had no choice but to leave the mountain to ferry souls. Otherwise, with the war outcome unsettled, disasters would recur and the common folk would have no peace. Zhang Yuanqing felt some soreness in his shoulders and massaged them. His initial judgment was this was a memoir, a diary. The contents were the author's experiences training and living in the temple. Based on the handwriting, this diary and the paper on the main hall corpse were from the same source. From words like a rebellion of Yen Wang, the timeline was around the Jingnan campaign. But he wasn't sure if this temple truly existed in history, as the memoir contained unfamiliar, cryptic terms like cultivation, night walker, ingestion art, and talismans. Zhang Yuanqing moved his sore shoulders and warily glanced around the room, listening for any sounds outside. After ensuring no anomalies, he continued reading the memoir. Soon, he turned to the follow-up to the main hall content. The first few pages were torn out, and the subsequent content read: Sunset, night has finally fallen. I heard knocking and opened the door eagerly. But it wasn't master outside, it was eldest senior brother who went missing last night. Eldest senior brother, missing for a whole day and night, had returned. But I felt no joy at all, because he was dead. It was a corpse that returned. His chest was a bloody mess with his heart gouged out. Eldest senior brother stared fixedly at me and said, "Do not trust master." These lines were messily written. Clearly the memoir's owner had a mental breakdown when writing this part. When Zhang Yuanqing turned the next page, he found there were no more entries. The diary's owner never wrote again. Hiss. Don't trust master? What does that mean? Zhang Yuanqing was chilled by this twist. Did the temple keeper kill eldest senior brother? Was he also behind the serial disappearances of the disciples? Zhang Yuanqing massaged his shoulder and returned the book into the corpse's pocket before picking up the bronze mirror, about to leave. But as his peripheral vision inadvertently glanced at the mirror, his body abruptly stiffened. Moonlight poured onto the surface like water. The mirror reflected his appearance, and on his back clung a person. That person had a ghastly pale face and purple lips with white pupils. Their head rested sideways on Zhang Yuanqing's shoulder, those lifeless white eyes staring fixedly at him.